Welcome, everybody. It's my pleasure to introduce Timo, Timo Brockmeyer. So Timo is a DevOps and site reliability engineer that is also helping to organize the German BigBlueButton community. Additionally, he likes to improve digital tools for use with teaching at the universities. His project, I think you'll be quite interested in, is a hybrid setup of BigBlueButton in an existing classroom. Timo, over to you.
Thank you very much, Fred. Yes, this talk I gave a couple of times already on different events, and I try to do it differently this time. So a lot of times we just call it hybrid setup with BigBlueButton, which I found during the talks usually that it does not really capture what we're doing here. And this time I also want to showcase you what can already be done with BigBlueButton in a hybrid setting. So this is just me trying out how this works, how this would work in a teaching environment when you have BigBlueButton set up in a, this is a meeting room, this is not a classroom, but anyway, this works somehow. Just to give you a quick overview, I'm not alone in this room. We have other people here. We have Malte. Some of you know him from the Dev Summits. We have Rüdiger. Some of you know him as well from Dev Summits. So this is a very, very sad lecture room because I'm not a good teacher, but usually I think teachers have more students than this. Maybe there are some teachers here in the audience. I'm not really sure. I will switch to the whiteboard here to give the presentation. We have a smart board here on the wall. I will just put the presentation in full screen so that the students here in the room, my colleagues, can well see what is going on in BigBlueButton in the presentation. Before I start, I will always say we, and with we, I actually mean a lot of people from the community. All of these ideas and the prototypes and all this goes back to a lot of people, a lot of ideas, several dev summits. We worked on this, we had ideas or discussions about this. Technische Hochschule Mittelhessen, Samuel Weich already gave a talk yesterday on PILOS, is involved heavily in this. University of Technology Chemnitz was involved. MConf, I have a lot of discussions with MConf people about this, our university, and maybe even you guys if you want to join us. This is really something that comes out of the community with a lot of people, and I think it's just a great testament also to how BigBlueButton works as a community project. And I will just present what we have done in this hybrid setup area so far. Just as a first question, I would like to ask you if you can maybe just write down on the whiteboard what are your experiences with hybrid setups, with hybrid teaching setups maybe. Can I just, how do I can do it here, right? Multi-user whiteboard, where did it go?
Oh, actually, Timo, probably better to do in the chat. We have a restriction on the number of users for this scenario, so type in the chat.
No, that's fine. Then just do it in the chat. Also, just put your questions in the chat. Maybe we can use the shared notes as well to gather questions. So I will just write here some headlines. Just what comes to your mind when you think about hybrid setups. It might be a teaching room, might be a meeting room as well. Maybe you come with a laptop and just connect it to a camera, to a webcam. Maybe you have some media devices in a lecture room installed. Just what comes to your mind. Maybe just write it down so that I get a little bit an idea also what you are thinking of when you're thinking of a hybrid setup, because we realize it can be a lot of different things actually. And people also tend to think of a lot of different things. So I'm trying to follow a little bit what you're writing down. Less interactive and less dynamic. Yes, this is something that we hear also, basically because people do not have the same rights. Not everybody's a first-class citizens in hybrid setups. Wow, this is really interesting. I'll try to follow this. Also, please fill it out just because then I can go through this after the talk as well. Yeah, really a lot of good points, I think. Okay, let me go on. So what we are usually thinking of is with BigBlueButton as a teaching tool. So what we had in these discussions for the hybrid setup, we actually thought about a classroom setting as well. So in a classroom that might look like this, or at least somewhat similar to this, you have teacher in front, you have several media devices. You obviously need a loudspeaker if you have remote participants. Oh, I can do this like this. 1 second, so you can see it better. So you have the loudspeaker. You have maybe some kind of camera. Obviously, you have the beamer here that projects. Sorry, a projector that projects onto the area, and somehow you need something to connect all this, which is sometimes, or usually maybe done with a laptop that the teacher brings to the room. And so when you think about this, you already see that a lot of technology is involved. And this is basically one of the main things where we see that the teachers are struggling. And somehow this is very overwhelming for the teacher in this teaching situation. You need to manage a lot of things, a lot of technology. A lot of this does not work out because usually because of things like this, like when I open several, you hear, right? Okay. So you have feedback loops and you have several audio devices open, and like this is just really difficult. So we thought that this is something that we definitely need to improve for the teacher. The teacher just wants to give a lecture or just wants to do the class. And they do not want to hassle themselves with the technology. So this is something that we try to solve in an appliance. This is actually just what you are bringing when you bring your laptop and you connect it to all the devices. We just got rid of this so that there should be one appliance in the room that connects to all the media devices, right? You have your cameras, you have your microphones and all of this stuff already connected to an appliance that can connect to the BigBlueButton session. But then we realized this is actually quite a difficult point as well. How do you connect to the BigBlueButton session? Because you now have this appliance connected and you want it more or less flexible, connect to a BigBlueButton online meeting that you might have pre-configured somehow. And we thought of several ways to connect the online meeting room with the physical meeting room. The most flexible way, in our opinion, was the bring your own meeting approach. So this is basically something that where you have your own meeting already set up, you can somehow connect this meeting with a mechanism yet to be determined in our thinking process to the physical appliance in the meeting room, and you got your meeting set up. How would this look like in practice? It's a pin, and this is now the prototype I'm showing you. The prototype we developed on the last couple of dev summits and along the side. So when a teacher enters the classroom, you see a pin number displayed in the classroom, which is actually just this pin number. And this pin number you just enter into your meeting. This does not work in standard BigBlueButton. You saw a lot of talks about the plugin architecture right now, And this is actually a very small plugin that we wrote that allows to enter a PIN number into the BigBlueButton meeting. So this PIN number that you see on the screen in the physical meeting room or in the classroom, you enter in the BigBlueButton session. Somehow now you need a connector between these two still. It's not enough just to enter this PIN number into BigBlueButton, and BigBlueButton does nothing, but it needs to connect somehow. Therefore, we use the server component. Anyway, this when you're now in the meeting room, you can acknowledge this. This is just a security measure. Just acknowledge that you actually want to join the meeting, and you're good to go. Then you come to this screen that then divides all of the BigBlueButton UI components on the different media devices in the physical meeting room. And now you're connected with the BigBlueButton meeting, you have everything set up, and you can just start your lecture. So just this PIN entering process would be enough in this bring your own meeting prototype. In this specific layout, you can see right here, this is something we demonstrated a couple of months ago. You can see the cameras here in this center screen. You can see the whiteboard here displayed on the smartboard that is in the room. And we actually had a separate screen still for the chat, because this is something that we always felt like right now I'm having a little bit difficulties reading what you guys are typing in the chat, because it's just too small for me on the laptop screen, and I cannot really pay attention to that. So we set up a separate screen for that as well. This is obviously a very complicated setup already. You need a lot of devices in the room, but it's just to show what can be done in general. How do you control this session? Because usually when you're in the process of giving the lecture, you do not want to connect a lot with your laptop, tinker around in the BigBlueButton UI. So what we did, we took a Stream Deck, which is this little device here, and you can actually manipulate the meeting from there. We have this mute, unmute buttons that you can use. You can actually switch layouts, like right now, layer 2 would be selected. If you press this button, you can change the layout, and maybe you get the presentation area on the big area, and the camera switch to the side. And when you finished the whole meeting, you just go to leave meeting and leave the meeting. This works reasonably well already. And yeah, this is actually the first step in our prototype. How does this work from the technical side? There we have a little bit more components in the background. I already talked about the application before, the appliance, this one that connects to the meeting. When you enter your PIN number here in the plugin in the BigBlueButton session, this PIN is actually sent to a server component that via this PIN number can find the appliance that is sending this PIN number as well to this Room Hub component. And this actually does the handshake between the session of BigBlueButton and the appliance application. So then this appliance can get the credentials to enter the BigBlueButton meeting on the server. This is the technical side of things. And this is a setup that we invested some time in, and which works quite well right now. I'm doing this without this setup, just mainly because we still need to patch BigBlueButton for that. We need this plugin as well for that. So this is something that will not run on this BigBlueButton installation, but on something that you actually need to configure at this point. So how am I doing this right here, right now, which is more or less like the guerrilla setup, I would say. And I would just want to show you a little bit in the room what we have here in as devices right now. So I am actually looking at the session from my own working laptop right here. Here you can see the room. So this is my laptop here. But all of the devices that are connected in the room are actually running from this small PC. I don't know. Can you see it like this? That is here under this 360 camera that is in the middle of the room, and that can actually film the whole room. Like also, if I move in the room, this works. What we have right here is a Kandao 360. There are several other vendors who provide similar solutions as well. I think the meeting is something that is also popular. And we also can manipulate this meeting right now already with the Stream Deck. This is something that also works. I can now unmute myself. This is just something where we use the Stream Deck to configure the keyboard shortcuts of the BigBlueButton UI. And we can manipulate the meeting like this as well. I think I can even raise hand. Yeah, so this works. And of course, the smartboard behind me, where I can write on this, and all of you see it as well. Right, and I also have a little bit of a. So this is the meeting, the hybrid setup, right? This is very technical side of things. This is what you can do now, and actually what you can probably do in other video conferencing systems nowadays as well. But I see or we at least in the community see a very strong case for BigBlueButton actually being more than just a video conferencing system. And this is kind of the hidden agenda that I have brought to you as well, and that I would like to discuss with you. This is an image that MConf nicely shared with me, or I shamelessly use it all the time when I present this, although it's by MConf, because they as well thought a lot about these things. And this is just a concept how this could look like in a meeting room when BigBlueButton is more than just a video conferencing solution. Here you already have ideas on how to easily invite people from that are in physical presence in the room to the meeting using a QR code. You have a teacher in front here. You see here that actually online students are basically just an add-on. So you can also attend online, but this is not really the focus anymore. If you use BigBlueButton inside the classroom, you have a real collaboration tool, real-time collaboration tool that is somehow the extension of the learning management system that you have, and that you can now use for all the audience interaction, the audience response in the classroom. I know that in this BigBlueButton installation, for example, there's question and answer tool, which would be very helpful in a real life setting, in a non-online setting as well. Or you have the polls, you have the chat, or at least raising hand. Students could manipulate the whiteboard from their iPad, from the telephone as well, participate in shared notes. And you can, after the session, could bring all this back into the learning management system as well, where you have online, where you have during the class, you have like an operating system for your classroom at that time for audience engagement. For that, you would need probably a stripped down version of the BigBlueButton client, which is also shown here as a concept, where you do not want to share audio and video when you're in presence in the classroom, but you just want to quickly access all the functions of BigBlueButton that are there just to engage with the lecture or be interactive with the lecture. So this is what I wanted to show you. I'm very curious what you think of this and what your ideas are. We'll also look a little bit through what you have written in the shared notes while I talked here. So I'm open for questions.
Timo, I have a question, which I'll just ask in audio. How far away do you think this might be before being used, like at one school or one organization, one university?
I think right now it is not yet production ready because there are some quirks that we have to figure out still. Although it works surprisingly well in a demo setup. In a real life setting, I think you would still need to have some functions in BigBlueButton that we still need to figure out how to do it well. Maybe with the new plugin features, this is possible, but we still have to think about it, especially for the session management right now. You have still some issues with how the physical room appears, about the rights of the physical room. So I think it's ready to test it, so the community can test it, and I hope they test it. But I would not yet advise to use it in some kind of production setting where teachers actually need to earn their money with this.
Very good, but I can see all the raw components are now here, especially with the plugin architecture.
Yeah, I think it's all there. It's all there. It's just, yeah.
Any other questions from folks? I think it was also worthwhile pointing out that this was one of the capabilities that was also partially funded by contributions from ZKI and the German universities. This and LiveKit were the two things that they were really interested in looking for BigBlueButton. And it's awesome, Timo and Samuel and others, to see the work that's been done on it so far.
Okay.
All right. I think what we'll do then is we'll give folks a chance to move themselves to the next session. Timo, yep. I'd like to just thank you on behalf of the BigBlueButton community for sharing this. I think this version of it maybe even look more real because you are actually using the whiteboard and you're interacting with BigBlueButton. And I am looking forward to seeing us get this into the classroom. It looks like it's getting very close.
Okay, thank you very much.